Welcome everyone. Today I'm going to discuss about climate change, and climate change is a very important thing right now. All of the country, all of the peoples around the world, we are very much interested about to solve this problem. So we need to think about the climate change. We need to think about a different kind of climate change issues, and climate change actually very important for us. And without these things, we cannot solve many of the important social problem. What is climate change and why it's happening? Question I hope to answer. What is the difference between the greenhouse effect, climate change, and global warming? What proof do we have that climate change is happening? Why is it happening? The greenhouse effect. The earth is surrounded by a thin layer of gases we can greenhouse gases. These gases are what make up our atmosphere. The greenhouse effect. Some sunlight that hits the earth is reflected. Some become heat. CO2 and other gases in the atmosphere trap heat, keeping the earth warm. Mars, the atmosphere, almost all CO2 in group average temperature is minus 50 degrees Celsius. Earth, 0.03 degree of CO2 is the atmosphere average temperature is plus 15 degrees Celsius. Venus, thick atmosphere continuous 96 degree of CO2 average temperature plus 420 degrees Celsius. What the difference? Global warming is the increase of the Earth average surface temperature due to a build-up of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Climate change is the long-term changes in the climate, including average temperature and precipitations. It recognizes that altitudes, the average surface temperature may increase, the regional or local temperature may decrease or remain constant. What does average mean? Climate is the average weather condition over time. Global warming refers to an increase in the Earth average temperature. The map shows the 5 years average variations of the global surface temperature from 1884 to 2012. Dark blue indicate areas cooler than average. Dark red indicates average warmer than average. How global warming works? Fossil fuel, see coal, oil, natural gas. What proof we have? Temperature and CO2 data. NASA Golden Space Flight Center's global temperatures. NASA climate data from NOA climate generation. Glaciers are melting, so are ice caps on both North and South Pole. Picture example Portage Glacier, Alaska, 1914 to 2004. Global sea level rise, level and other key climate change indicators. Satellite data, ground data. 1993 to present rate of change, 1870 to 2000 rate of change. Climate change in the USA. Temperature are rising especially in winter. Extreme rainfall and flood event 24 hours and 7 days are more frequent. Extreme drought and massive wildfires are more common. In rural communities, forest and farmland are impacted, making crops and food more scarce and expensive for all. Climate change is the impact these plant and animals. We can observe this through uh, phenology, the study of event in nature, observing the date of the first snowfalls or arrival of the migratory insects and animals. These events are changing. Why is the climate change happening? Historic atmosphere CO2 concentrations, low dome ice core recorded, manual low observation recorded, manual low observations and low dome ice cores, carbon dioxide informations analysis center. Pollution from sea, coal, natural gas and oil. Warming of the climate system in unequivocal human influence of the climate system is clear. Thank you for the National Wildfire Federation giving permission to use slide from Climate Classroom. So these are the very important aspects of the climate change, and the climate change actually happening. So we need to be very much careful about climate change. We need to think about climate change, and we need to understand how climate change create a very impactful things for our society. I just try to add some important research, and especially this research can help us to grow our things in an effective way. So most important thing is that we need to do more research. We need to do more effective things. We need to do more clarifying and important aspects, which may helpful for us. If you think about the climate change and the analysis of the climate change, top 10 climate papers. Number one, trajectories of the Earth system in the Anthropocene. Number two, global warming transforms coral reef ensembles. Number three, decrease in the global beer supply due to extreme drought and heats. Massive balance of the anarchic ice sheet from 1992 to 2017. Spital and temperature pattern of the mass balancing of the coral in the anthropines, reducing food environmental impact through products and consumers. The carbon footprint of the global tourism, the dimensions of the integrated global African baobabs, climate-driven denials in the uh, arthropods abundance, recurrent and rainforest food waves. Climate modern shows larger scales wind and solar farm in the Shara increased rain and vegetations. These are the most important aspects of the climate trend. And if you see that there are different kind of scores like this one. Number one is 6061, two is 400 4392, and another one 2107. These are the way we are improving with the climate change. Analysis the climate paper most factors in the media in 2018. These news journal paper were reported around the world in the news articles and the blog and shared on social media sites such as Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Reddit. Trackings all these mentions was Ultramakers, an organization that score and rank paper according to the attention they receive. Using alternative data, Carbon Brief has compiled its annual list of 24 most talked about climate change related things. Top spot, the most talked about paper last year on any topic, not just climate change, was Mortality is Purity Rico after Hurricane Maria. Published in the England Journal of Medicine, this came first in Altmetrics top 100 journal paper of 218 with an overall Altmetric scores of over 10,000. The paper focused on the study estimates that the number of details in the Puerto Rico caused by the Hurricane Maria in 2017 was around 70 times higher than the official figure. The study received further coverage when US President tweet and this kind of things. Top 5. Falling to the between first and the second ranked paper, the biomass distribution on Earth, published in PNAS. What is the ultrametric score is 4,413 would be enough for the second spot, and the paper does not estimate the carbon stores in the world plants and element. In principle, focus in providing a census of the biomass of all kingdoms of life. As with the hurricanes, Mars papers it therefore earned the honorable mentions rather than a place of the uh, leaderboard. As a brief example explain when the paper was published in the April, this immediate and the long last die of our coral has led to a vast swathes of the reef of transforming into the highest altered degraded system which are now volunteer to total ecological collapse. Decrease in global beer supply due to the extreme drought and the heat. The paper overall atmosphere score was 3,624. Unsupervising newspaper, the study was the subject to 383 new articles from 318 outlets, includes Hill, New York Times, Guardian, Quartz, Weird, Scientific America. It also features in 1,413 tweets and on Facebook post. making the top 10s, falling outside the 5 in the science paper, reducing food and environmental impact through producer and consumers in 6th, and the natural climate change study, the carbon footprint of the global tourism in 7th. Carbon footprint on global tourism. In 8th, the damage of the largest and oldest African baobabs. This brief communications paper in Natural Plants outlined that 9 of the 13 oldest of the African baobab trees had died over the past 12 years, and 5 of 6 largest had met the same fate. Elsewhere into it, just mission out of the top 10s by a mere 16 out of points. The science paper declined oxygen in the global ocean and catastrophic water oxygen levels in the world oceans have fallen over the past half century. The study explained preliminary a result of increased global temperature and nutrient discharge to coastal waters. These are the very important aspects and other things. If we big bears captures in the script of the life, polar bears. I'm just sharing few of the informations about the climate change and how it's create and polar bears could be struggle to catch and a freeze. These are some of the impact of the climate change we are observing, and we need to be very much careful about that, and we need to take care of our society and everything. Journals are finally looking at the which journal feature most heavily in top 25. Nature has the most paper with the 8, followed by the Science in second place in sixth, and PNAS and the Natural Climate Change is joined third, the 3 each. In total, 14 paper from the top 25 were published in journal in the natural family. These are the most effective and most criticized informations for us. So if you have any questions regarding climate change, if you have any things you want to do work as a projects with the climate change, if you want to make a very meaningful things about climate change, and you want to make an impactful society through the climate change, that times we can take necessary initiative. And most important thing is that we need to be more focused on research. We need to be more effective on the research, and research will help us to understand the climate change. Research will help us to develop our knowledge on the climate change, and then we can analyze in an effective way. So these are the impact of the climate change journal. These are the impact of the climate change and effective things. From this journal we can understand that there are many effective things happening inside our industry, and we need to overcome from these things. And most important thing is that the more we can understand about climate change, we can take more good initiative. The more we can understand about a different kind of responsibility, we can take care of these things. So this is ultimately the objective of School of Talent Economy, that how we can overcome our, from this situation. I request everyone, if you have any question regarding climate change, you can communicate with me. And if you have any question that how we can overcome from these positions, you can directly communicate with me, and you can solve this problem in an effective way. Thank you everyone. If you have any questions, you can communicate, you can discuss, we can do research together, and we can publish paper in an effective way.